Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Technologist Forum. Today is a show that I've been looking forward to having for a little while. Friend of the show, friend of the family, Mr. Larry O'Connor, CEO, founder of OWC, Other World Computing. Us Mac folks, we know OWC. Folks that know storage, folks that know media should know OWC. And we're going to have a conversation because they were just at the WPPI Conference in Las Vegas. I had a little FOMO because I did make it, but we're going to talk about the industry. We're going to talk about their technology and what they announced at that particular conference. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry O'Connor is in the building. So I should have shaved and I should have made myself look presentable, but we're family and we go back far enough. So, Larry, how are you, sir?
Doing great, doing great. We'll even do this with the webcam on today.
Oh my good. Well, see, you're gonna show yourself, which is a good thing. Listen, let's get right into it, man, because folks know you, and if they don't know you, they need to Google you, or I'll put a link in the description to our last few episodes. But I want to be cognizant of your time, and I want to talk about what's top of mind, right? From a storage perspective, from a connectivity perspective. You were at WPPI with the whole squad, and talk a little bit about why you went there, why OWC shows up at a photographer's conference, and what were some of the main things that you got from the show, and also things that you announced at the show. So, why the show matters, why you were there, and kind of what also OWC was announcing. I know I just hit you with a barrage of questions just right out the gate. I know, man, but I know you can handle them.
Sure. Well, I want to jump to and answer one question. I personally was not at the show this
Oh
year.
my
Chris
gosh,
was.
I've just outed him. Oh my goodness.
Chris, Chris is yeah. Chris and the team certainly were there. And as far as YOWC is there, I wish I could have been there. I mean, March is a full plate month. Every month is a full plate month. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot. We're always well, the innovation never stops because technology never stops moving. But being there, photography is it's a really important space for us. As you, I believe, are aware, we have a full line now of camera media cards, and that affects photographers and videographers. But that's the other aspect of the line, I'd say, is becoming pretty blurred between somebody who just does photography as opposed to somebody who just does videography. If you have any of the cameras today, those, I mean, the best photography cameras also shoot video, 4K, sometimes, actually, a lot of them even up to 8K video. On top of that is not just necessarily the video capability. I mean, the high speed stills when you're doing still motion capture. These are more and more commonplace. The cameras are capturing at higher and higher resolutions, and the cards that we put into the market, whether again for videography or for photography, they've got to be up to a standard that I'd almost argue was not imaginable a decade
Yeah.
ago. And if you're capturing all this stuff, the stores and everything else that the offload, the ingest tools. I mean, this is all part of it, and really a capture to completion ecosystem that we're really glad to be able to provide.
I would even add to that, and I'm gonna give OWC some flowers here. So hopefully some marketing people are watching. Um, for those of us enthusiasts, those of us that are professional, those that when that content being captured matters, right? If you can't afford to lose it, if you can't afford to have uh, bad sectors on that SD card, on that CF card, right? You really you get what you pay for. I say a lot of times, and the all of the OWC products. I still have my portable drive connected right now. Obviously, I can't pull it out because that's where the data is being streamed to right now. But when the data matters, when the information matters, when the photos or the video matters, again, there's a short list that I recommend as well to folks in terms of what they utilize as those infrastructure pieces. So I would put that out there for the marketing folks. They can cut that up if they want to as well. Um, but what did you guys talk about? Because last time we talked, it was right around the Thunderbolt 4 days, right? And I took you down a rabbit hole. We might do it again right now, but I know you announced a lot of things around Thunderbolt 5, and again, you're leading the charge in terms of where the industry is going, I believe. So, what specifically on the Thunderbolt 5 side did OWC recently come out with?
Sure, we're showing, of course, our Thunderbolt 5 hub, which is really a great tool. It's a great device, and it's kind of a rabbit hole. I mean, you really get into, why Thunderbolt 4, why Thunderbolt 5, why Thunderbolt 3. But our Thunderbolt 5 hub, it's a great tool for multiplying ports and being able to really maximize the performance you can get from Thunderbolt 5. With Thunderbolt 3 and 4, 40 gigabit Thunderbolt, just plugging a display into the same connection, with another drive, you're potentially impeding the performance of that drive. There wasn't enough bandwidth after certainly what a 4K or 5K, let alone a 6K display can take to support its resolution, its video requirement, plus what one of our devices can do over data. So Thunderbolt 4 hubs were great, quite honestly, if you had multiple portable drives, you need the bus power, you have multiple Thunderbase spinning arrays, perhaps, where you didn't want to have to disconnect everything to disconnect one. Putting, in general, with a Thunderbolt 4 hub or any device that eliminates daisy chain, the closer the device is to the computer, the less latency, and there is a benefit for performance and, again, convenience. When you're not running along daisy chain, you can keep those things closer to the computer. And the hub, of course, gives you more USB-C ports regardless. Thunderbolt 5 kind of changes the equation, at least the benefit, because now for the first time, there is bandwidth beyond just the data side. Right now, you have your data bandwidth, and then there's a carve out for video. I should say right now. I'm talking like Thunderbolt 5 is not out here yet.
You're not that in front of the curve, but you are in front of the curve. You're bleeding edge, not
Yes, well, this is all new and really fantastic. With the 40 gigabit Thunderbolt, yes, there was a carve out. Roughly, actually, it's 12 gigabits. It's available, and it was carved out for video. But most video, high resolution video, cuts right through that and then reduces your bandwidth. With Thunderbolt connections, with USB-C Thunderbolt in general, video display trumps, because it's got to work. It takes precedence over any other device. So if you plug up a display into the same port or same hub or same chain, as a data device, the bandwidth needed to drive that video is first and foremost allocated, and then what's left, we'll be supporting the other data devices on the chain. Thunderbolt 5, you've got, in addition to a nice carve out, 24 gigabits, like 26 gigabits, that's carved. No, I'm sorry. Geez, I can't get my numbers right. 16 gigabits is carved out, from the initial 80 gigabits for video. There's another 40 gigabits dedicated to video. So with a Thunderbolt 5 hub on a Thunderbolt 5, and be very clear, on a Thunderbolt 5 equipped Mac or PC, now you can have a 6K display, a couple 5K displays, and the fastest Thunderbolt 5 data storage device all through the same port, all functioning at full performance. And that fastest Thunderbolt 5 device, we have two of them. We have our Thunderbolt 5, our Envoy Ultra, which is the first and today remains the fastest portable Thunderbolt device in the world. And then we have our newly announced Thunderblade X12, which really excited about shipping come late April, early May. It's a 12 drive array solution that will go up to 96 terabytes of storage and sustain data rates end to end, both read and write, then around the 60 megabyte per second range. So 6.5 gigabytes a second sustained data rates end to end, and up to 96 terabytes of capacity. So we've expanded our Envoy lineup with the new Envoy Ultra. We've expanded our Thunderbolt connectivity lineup with that Thunderbolt 5 hub. We also have expanded the Thunderblade lineup with a solution that can take advantage of Thunderbolt 5's increased performance and bandwidth. And it'll start at 12 terabytes of capacity and again, shoot up to 96 terabyte. And I go back to the hub again, I can just talk.
Come on, listen, and I'm a great host because I'm letting you talk, right? Again, I got all these questions, but I'm putting the run the show aside. Go ahead, brother.
The last thing I'll say about Thunderbolt 5 machines, again, on a Thunderbolt 4 system, the hub allowed you to have more devices. It still allows you to have more devices, eliminate, some of the longer, maybe, eliminate a daisy chain so you get a little bit better performance from some of the things you have connected. That's have a display and maybe a couple lower performance devices on the port. With Thunderbolt 5, you're now using that hub to maximize what a single port can do, because you can have video, you can have data. You can segment a Thunderbolt 40 gigabit chain. You have Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4 devices, run that off a port so that you're not taking up a whole Thunderbolt 5 port for something that can't fully take advantage of that bandwidth. So you can maximize the bandwidth of each of those precious Thunderbolt 5 ports on that Mac or PC, by using the hub.
That explanation, right, is necessary because again, we as the consumers, we as the professionals want that connectivity, want that speed, want that flexibility, but at times it's difficult to articulate that. Right. So what's refreshing
Yeah.
is that you and your team at OWC has actually built that into the infrastructure, built that into the components. Whereas, yeah, now I can connect all of these displays that I want to. I can connect all of this external storage. I can connect all of these devices into my system. And yes, I got the new Mac Studio 4 about 12 hours ago. So I'm gonna be looking for
Nice.
some Thunderbolt 5 connectivity to this device. Where's Chris at? Maybe we should talk to him. Okay. Um, but that's the thing, right? Again, because now we are no longer, as video producers, as content creators, we're no longer just at 1080. We're no longer at even 2K. We are streaming, we are recording everything in 4K, everything in 6K, everything in 8K. We're really at those high codecs, really at those high resolutions, and something to be able to process that so we can encode that, so we can do all of our timeline edits, do the work on
You're right.
systems where the infrastructure isn't a bottleneck. I think that's a huge takeaway. Bringing it down kind of for from a layman's perspective, right? For consumers who may not know all of the ins and outs of all of the technology piece, but why it matters to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And it gets easier this way. I mean, right now, with Thunderbolt, the higher performance setups, I mean, with 40 gigabit ports, you're kind of balancing, trying to figure out, which port to put what where, so you get the maximum capability for the different devices you want to have connected. Thunderbolt 5, at least in the beginning, I mean, of course, resolutions will continue up. I'm sure data demands will continue to drive forward. I don't know how many people are going to need or want, those 8K displays.
Well,
Uh,
need
Nothing
versus
we can do.
want is a different thing. Come on, you know better than
100%.
that.
That that being said, Thunderbolt 5, it's just honestly to a certain degree, just like these new Macs with the Apple Silicon. There's so much capability, so much performance. At least for a bit of time, it's going to be a lot easier, a lot less to think about when you're connecting all this great technology. It's always just plugged in and work, but now it's going to be easier to get the maximum. You won't have to think about what you plug in where too much, and still get the maximum performance and the capability from these devices for a good time to come.
Yeah. Let's talk about on the go, right? Let's talk about portable types of devices. I know you talked about the Envoy, but CF Express, did you come out with cards as well and card readers? I know you've been leading the charge in that conversation as well, and I didn't know if you specifically came out with something for the photographers and, like you said, for the folks carrying the big cameras. I'm a Sony man myself. Shouts out to Sony.
Sure.
But just wondering if there were some cards that came out as well.
Yeah, over this period of time that we've continued to, we keep doubling up on our CF Express B capacity. Last year we introduced our first CF Express A cards. We ship a 240, a 480, and a 960 gig. Priced really well. Certainly competitive, obviously with what's out in the field, but also these were the first PCI Gen 4 cards, which doesn't affect the camera side. It's just these are VPG 200. I mean, it's not about the camera speed side. It's actually about the ingest side. So you're capturing, especially a lot of video or a lot of stills in terms of photography session. How long it takes to download matters. And with our cars, you're downloading it at over 3,600 megabytes a second with our reader, and with any reader that would be a PCI phone. We also brought out the first Gen 4 reader. I mean, our cars will read in any reader. They just happen to be read the fastest today in our readers, since we brought them out to take advantage of what our cards could do. Most cards in the market are either one fourth or one half the speed of what we've put out today. But yeah, up to 2 times faster. I get me this than versus the Sony, but nonetheless, I guess if I'm talking CF Express B, I go all over the place. Sometimes I can't keep track of where I'm going, but
But
with
the
these
fact that you
cards,
said, oh, no, the fact that you said, our cards are fast, but we're the fastest out there too. So I mean, I like that little plug there, little OWC plug. We're not just good. We're probably the best out there. You can Google us if you want to. OWC, ladies and gentlemen. Um,
no, it's the truth. There is no card on the ingest side when it comes to getting that data off the card and into your Mac or PC. there is nothing faster available today. And on a 1 terabyte download, I mean, that's saving considerable time. I mean, that's, not a few seconds. It's not a few minutes. It's a good chunk of minutes saved, on that ingest. So you can get that card turned over and know that your photos are safe, and getting backed up and being transmitted. All the joy that comes after the shoot itself. But the other, I just want to say that goes into this, and you talk about stuff just has to work. And our stuff, I mean, we built everything today, with a real manifesto that it's going to work. It's going to plug and play. I mean, support isn't good. Support time isn't good for anybody. I mean, you've got work to do. You want it
Yeah.
to go. And when somebody comes onto your show to do an interview, you just want to flip the switch and everything just should work. That's how
Well,
it's supposed
there you go. See, now you're picking at the wound there. Okay, we had a little technical issues, but it's my fault.
Oh, I wasn't going to bring up the
I
technical
brought
issue.
it. I'm just glutton for punishment. Let's see. All right, Larry.
I-
So
I-
I see how you are.
but that's how it's supposed to be. And and I don't think, well, some people, I mean, certainly, well, like yourself, have history with our solutions. Or probably have a good idea how much time goes into just the
Yeah.
testing, the qualification, the firmware development, everything that comes, together to make these products work. They work the way they do in the field. And I can say firsthand, from experience and from clear evidence. I mean, it's people would probably be surprised at just how many man hours and woman hours go into development of these products. I mean, they don't just, it's just not a bunch of silicon that gets put together and 3 weeks later it's being built and shipped out. I mean, it's typically months of development and testing with the actual cameras, all the cameras for all purposes. I mean, if we say it's compatible, it's not because it's spec compatible, it's because we've actually tested it. A lot of people experience surprises when they buy a camera card that looks like should have the right specs, but plug it in and it's a no-go, or worse. I mean, it's working when or I should say they think it's working, and then you end a session and find out that it didn't quite work right, or you try to use a mode on the camera that you'd expect to have supported and it doesn't shoot. We do all this testing up front so that you don't have those problems in the field. And even on our storage solutions, I should say, I mean, the storage solutions, the amount of burner that goes into those solutions before they're shipped, the testing before even the engine, the drive, and the chipsets that come together to make those solutions what they are, it's intense. And there is a benefit to that, which it benefits our customers. I mean, and just in the simple way that if you're working on a project, and whether you're using our products for backup or the next major motion picture that's going to be hitting the big screen, you don't want to be thinking about our drive, honestly, and we don't want you to have to worry about our drive. You're out with a lot of other how to say tasks and requirements that are on your time. Getting it done quick, knowing that your data is safe, knowing that the connectivity works, would all the different variables that that we get to touch, and what we provide for that, again, that creation to a completion flow. We're there to support and not be somebody or something that ultimately takes away from your, well, how to say, you don't want to have to use your brain power, I should say, those limit, your creative juices, any of the things that go to making that project the best it can be, to worry about technology that, again, it's just supposed to be there sitting, working, and going.
Stay in my lane. That's what I'm gonna do. Stay in my lane. And I appreciate that story, right? Because again, there's the value conversation. There's the why OWC. There's the why. Again, prices are prices. Again, you're paying for, from a consumer perspective, for value. You're paying for that additional testing. When I plug it into my A7C, it's going to work. When I plug that drive into my Mac Studio, it's going to work without any question, without any hindrance, things like that. And again, folks will go to a local store, they'll go to an online retailer, and they'll find something that's $4, and they'll find something that's $50. They'll look for something in the middle, and then again, it really, the conversation in terms of, has it been qualified, has it been certified, has it been tested, all of that stuff, I think matters. Well, I know it matters. So I'm glad to hear, Larry, you just had Larry O'Connor give you the story of OWC, of why. Go out there and get some stuff, man. I need an affiliate code or something, because I've been rocking with you ever since.
Chris is true. They're happy to set you up. I mean,
We gotta do something, man. I've been rocking with you since before the gray hair, and I don't know what's going on here now. Okay, there you go. Squirrel moment. Squirrel. What?
No, life is good, but we want to keep it good. And ultimately, I mean, time you can't replace, and you
Yeah.
certainly often don't get a chance to take the same shot again. So we
Wow.
are very passionate about making sure that, when data is stored on our drive, it's safe. When data is shot to one of our memory cards, it's safe. When it's ingested on one of our readers and you connect through one of our docks, things just work. I mean, the Oscars is a live production. They use Jellyfish and other WC technology to be able to take those clips and be live posting, um, sharing, doing all the things that they do to support that broadcast. You can't be live with something that you have to tech support or have to, well, kick the side of. It just has to work. Super Bowl halftime shows. I don't think we had anything to do with the last one, but five out of the last seven. And those, the teams that were there were with our hardware. It's a different team, depending on who the artist is, but live concerts,
Yeah.
TV. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's a backup, if it's a backup of your data, I say I mean, for your home, for your financial records, whatever you're doing, how do I say, on your Mac or PC in a home setting, never mind, what you do for your livelihood. If you need that backup one day, again, it has to be there and has to be working. Anything that, takes away from you spending time with your family, spending time and being productive, heck, having time to get a good night's sleep,
Imagine
that's
that.
taking it reduces it's taking away from what your capability and what your energy is for the things that honestly matter, hopefully a lot more to you than a box that's on your desk.
The fact that you mentioned a couple of times about being cross-platform as well, I think resonates, and I didn't want to glaze over that. So again, we're Mac fanatics. I'm a member of the cult of Mac. I'm a Steve Jobs guy. I got his quote behind me in my studio. All of that. We wish everyone would use Macs. I'm not sure why they're not, but if they're not, and they're a PC, they can still take advantage of OWC, even though the original name was Mac Sales. All right, is MacSales.com still a domain,
Oh
or
yeah.
is it okay?
Well, technically it's always been Otherworld Computing,
Okay.
and MacSales.com has been the domain. So MacSales.com with Otherworld Computing is obviously has been the combination. But in terms of Mac versus PC,
Yeah. Oh, we can have that
we
conversation if you want to. No.
Hey, we're, as you well know, a Mac house. We develop for, in all fairness, we develop for Apple first, and there's a higher threshold on the Apple platform. I mean, there really is. I mean, there's
Yeah.
stuff that should work on a PC does, and ultimately, if it works on the Mac, if it's engineered and is giving performance and reliability, and everything works on the Mac, 99.9% of the time, there's nothing. We've already crossed every I. No, I've dotted every I, crossed
Well,
every
I
T.
wasn't going to do that to you, but Chris is in the background. He's laughing at you. So you
Yeah, we talked about that too.
got your analogies backwards. So
It's
let's
rough.
move on. Let's move on. Um,
We build, I mean, again, if you're a PC user, you will find that the solutions that we build and support on the PC, I mean, I have well, let me say, we're customers and companies that have come into the operation for different software, different back-end work that I would say that needs to be done. And they'll see our product for the first time and they're on the Windows side of the fence. Like, there's not stuff like this. We don't
mhm.
see products like this, how do I say, from the normal sources, and they become our customers, and they're wowed by it. And we talked about price, is $5, $4 versus $50, something in the middle. Our solutions, with a rare exception, are very competitively priced. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
there's value that you're not paying. I mean, in some you might pay a couple dollars more, and I literally it might just be a couple dollars difference. I mean, everybody's always trying to edge out somebody else by something like a dollar or two, but we're pretty comparable in price for most of the solutions, versus competition. But again, that's a price comparison when you look at performance and reliability, and just the quality of what you get in an OWC product. That's where the comparison kind of ends. And the other thing I say, there's in certain cases, we could build a much lower cost solution. We might where we are, a distance between our I guess you could say our price and a competitor price. There's generally a reason for it, and that's we understand. First of all, we are our own customers. We do have
Mhm.
an understanding, or at least certainly a belief in what our customers expect for performance. We put real numbers out there, we're not doing flash in the pans and stuff that looks good on benchmarks. I mean, we're building these solutions so they operate in the real world. And if it means that the engine inside has to have a higher cost, so that when you're actually doing work, that it gives you what you expect, we're going to do that. We're not just trying to hit a price point. We're making sure that we hit the right performance point. So again, this stuff, I can go on and on. I mean, there's just so many places, but if you have to wait for something, even on a slower drive, you're waiting for something to transfer, that's taking you away from,
The
maybe all
thing.
the other work done. You can multitask or whatever, but if it's the end of the day and the last thing you have to do is make that, get those dailies out, make those extra backups, whatever it might be, that's time that you're giving up that, a small difference may have, resulted in that project being done a half an hour earlier. So
The
it's,
the passion in that in the conversation, right? And again, that's why again I let you keep going, because to hear that honest opinion, that passion, that excitement about the platform, about the products, about the industry, about what it is that you do. I mean, again, that needs to be heard. That needs to not be assumed. And to hear that come from a Larry O'Connor really matters. Let me ask this, because again, I want to be cognizant of your time, but we talked about a couple of industries that are leveraging OWC products. Are you seeing an uptick in something particular, maybe in the media and entertainment? Are you seeing an uptick in content creators? Um, Higher education or anything of that nature that are realizing the need for higher quality, higher capable infrastructure for data recovery, data storage, things of that.
I'd say it's been across the board. Education and government moves a little bit slower, but certainly seeing we're making some pretty good inroads there. Corporate, just internal corporate video groups are certainly discovering that there's better hardware and better solutions that can make their departments flourish and actually become departments that can put the output that is being demanded of them. But content creators in general are where we're seeing the most significant upticks. I mean, folks that maybe have gotten tired of some of the drives that are typically out there and are
Yeah.
coming to OWC in droves. Our portable storage in particular it's just been going nuts over the last, I'd probably say the last 3, 4, 5 months between the Envoy and the 1M2. I mean, it's a huge increase in numbers versus a year ago. And why not? Because the 1M2 and the Envoy Ultra, and I'd even lump the Envoy FX in there. I mean, those three products in their categories, they are unbeatable. I mean, they truly are unbeatable for the performance and the capability and the reliability across the board they offer. And this passion, I mean, you could talk to anybody that's within OWC. I mean, I mean, all of us, care about this stuff. I mean, this is, we use these solutions ourselves personally, and we know, that we know users like yourself on the field. I mean, understand, I mean, data can't be, we
That's something you
can't
don't
prevent,
play with, right? Yeah, it's something you don't play
no,
with.
No, and it's become a heck of a long ways because and stuff has gotten a lot more complicated. I mean, the advancements over the last decade, the complications over the last decade, and I'll be honest. I mean, getting through the whole Apple Silicon transition a few years ago,
Mm,
there were
hmm.
some rough spots in that, and there were plenty of bugs that were well outside of our control. Without talking about where those might have originated from, and I'm really glad to have seen and actually that members of OWC contributed to improvements that have benefited really every
Oh,
user on the
cool.
planet.
Okay. Well,
So
let's do this. I got the 1M2 up here, and I'm hearing that this is you, and you highlighted, you talked about it, ultra fast, ultra compatible. What is this thing, and why should folks take a look at this? So we showed all the other things, and I'll make sure folks to put descriptions of everything in the show notes as well, so you can go take a look at all these things. But this Express 1M2, I've seen some videos about it. This may be where we want to go. Talk a little bit about this.
sure, the 102 is I mean, it is all those things. It's backwards and forwards compatible, so you can use it. You can literally use that product on a machine built more than a decade ago. Anything with USB-C, you're plug and play. You can use it on even some of the older USB-A systems with an adapter, which is kind of nice. But on the latest machines, I mean, you're getting data rates that are over 3,000 megs a second. I think we say 3161 on our site. It's actually, I mean, we understand, we kind of under promise over deliver. They're going to update. We're probably update that, but I mean, it's more like 3250 to 3350 megs per second. That's real world sustain. That's not, a special benchmark. I mean, that's what it's really doing. There's other benchmarks, and we let reviewers, publish those things. We've seen benchmarks, approaching 4,000, 3,800 plus megs a second on that product, published by others. But I mean, the engine that we sell at 0 gig, so you can put your own drive in there. From a capacity point of view, you can get there are some less expensive drives you can put into the solution that give reasonable performance. That's probably, I mean, I guess you could say, hey, the M4 is wonderful, but if I have an M1 and I'm not noticing anything that I'm faster than, do I need an M4? And just maybe that argument exists for what drive you might put in M1, M2. When you buy one of our solutions, that is already pre-populated in the 1 and 2, it's not just the drive off the shelf, even that we sell. That hardware has been tuned. The drive is tuned along with the firmware on that system, on the solution that we ship, equipped, so that you get the absolute maximum performance possible from each of those capacities. And we're always working on the next generation in terms of what engine we can power the 1 and 2 with. But the 1 and 2 today, there's nothing faster in 40 gigabit. The Thunderbolt, the Envoy Ultra, that gives the write speed, honestly, in the Ultra, is faster for part of the drive, but the 1 and 2 actually technically is a little bit faster on sustain rate, which depending on what you're doing, I mean, it's kind of like having a car that can, I'll make them now, they go 300 miles an hour, and nobody can drive that fast anyway. You're driving 60, 70. I mean, as long as you're not dropping below that, you don't even know that there is a difference.
Yeah.
But the Ultra is sustains the higher read speeds. The 1 and 2 is capped at 40 gigabits, so you get close to 4,000 megs a second. And the ceiling is set by the interface, not by the drive necessarily. So they have all these different products that kind of fit in different bases. The 1 and 2 is a really exciting product because it just works with everything and everybody. If you have Thunderbolt 4, there's no reason, in my opinion, that a Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4 machine to buy a Thunderbolt 5 drive today. Thunderbolt 40 gigabit isn't going away, just like Thunderbolt 3 is not going away. I mean, it still makes sense for certain storage solutions. It's also more compatible than going to a Thunderbolt 5 chipset. There's OS requirements as you go into a Thunderbolt 5 chipset versus Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4. Everything, I mean, the hardware compatibility is there, but it requires software, whether it's a new version, a more current Mac OS, or even a new Windows version if you're a Windows user. So
hearing that value proposition as well, again, for folks who, again, we all want the latest, greatest, shiniest toy out there. But again, if you've got a system that's meeting the needs, doing what it needs to do, and it's a Thunderbolt 4, to hear you again honestly say, for what you're doing, does it make sense? Right? As opposed to going out there and getting the latest and greatest, maybe wait until your workflow, your infrastructure needs that. So that's a good piece as well. They got to update this slide though. This on you still got the M1, M2, 3 Max on there.
No, they have. They got to get the M4.
What's going on at OWC? You go to Vegas for a week, hang out, come back, and
it all falls apart. Yeah, miss the M4. I will. You talk about that whole latest and greatest, and it can be a real I mean, I have to say, Apple's marketing on the M4 has been very, very effective. And you'd think and the M4 is amazing, but the way it's marketed, I mean, some folks are out there, they make the assumption, or they feel it's implied that you have to have an M4 for Apple Intelligence, and that's any Apple M processor supports the Apple Intelligence. The other aspect is you think it's the M4 is faster than any M1. And if you look at, depending on what you're doing, I mean, there's still M1 Max, an M4 Pro versus a straight an M1 Pro versus a straight M4 is, I mean, the M4 has edges in a lot of places, but it's not that significant. And, it could be like getting, put a new engine in the car, but you've not actually maxed the engine, that you've never actually hit the red line in what you have. So it could be, if you're going from an Intel machine to the M4, I mean, it's
night and day.
But that's the case with any M series. Apple's M series is just absolutely fantastically amazing. But ultimately, I mean, technology continues to, I mean, it's just going to get faster. It's just going to get better. Other features and other capabilities are going to be coming out as this continues to evolve. If you don't need to replace it now, certainly the longer what you have is not holding you back, is giving you, the full bandwidth and capability to do everything you do. Wait, we had a customer who has a ton of our Thunderbolt 4 hubs. He came up to the show and said, I want to get your Thunderbolt 5 hubs. And this was before they were shipping them. I mean, when are they going to be available? And I asked him, what system he was talking about getting them for. And it was a Thunderbolt. It was an M series. It was either an M2 or an M1 Mac. And I said, why? Because Thunderbolt 5 is better. Said, it is better, but it's only better in the case of, and this is in the case of the hub, it's only better if you put it on a Thunderbolt 5 equipped machine. On a Thunderbolt 40 gigabit system, the performance is identical. No difference in the port performance, no difference in the operation. There's, well, to say a hub, but there's, we're not a planned obsolescence company. We're not going to try to push something that's not necessary. And even I touch that on the camera cards. One of the reasons that we got into the camera card system, in addition to just having expertise in SSD and technology goes into cameras, first I'll say it's 1,000 times more complex than anybody, including myself, initially gave credit to what camera cards, but just the kind of development and the kind of resources that are necessary to produce a camera card that's going to work right in all the different cameras that you could put a CF Express B card or an SC card, or used to just be Sony for CF Express A, but even that's spreading out. And one thing that we did different with Atlas than pretty much anybody else out there, with maybe one exception that's close, is ensure that you have the ability to know what the health of the card is. You have the ability to update the firmware. A new camera comes out. This wasn't the case. I mean, it's happened before at Blackmagic, I believe in one scenario. But today it's pretty regular. A new camera comes out, they may have a mode that needs a certain, kind of support, but if that's usually that's not already there. So now if you already have a stack of cards, or even maybe it's a firmware update in your existing camera, suddenly you have the option. If you have an OWC card, we push the firmware update out. If you have somebody else's card, you need to buy a new card.
Dude, it's so cool. Again, man, let's don't gloss over those things, man. That stuff, that is so cool that it's
no. And there's a third thing.
future
This is the biggest one. And this, I would go as far. This is almost, in some respects, this should be criminal. And this has to do with just maintaining cards. Cards start to slow down over time. And the assumption is when a card isn't taking those stills as fast as it did before, or that you're not able to support a certain mode in terms of the frame capture rate, is that the card must be failing. And the reality is, these cards is not a matter of them failing. There's a cache in the card that becomes dirty, and dirty is it is kind of a technical term, believe it or not. But ultimately, the cache becomes dirty, and it's not able to sustain the speed that it did when it was factory fresh. And you can do a low level format, which wastes an entire write cycle and takes hours, and it gets it most of the way back. Or with an OWC card, you run sanitize. And every time you run sanitize on a card, it's a few seconds, and you're back to full factory performance. It resets effectively that cache. It clears the drive back to its factory original state. And that way, I mean, and again, you also have the knowledge that it's not it's not a health issue, because you can run the health check and see, oh yeah, there's still 70, 80, 90% of the card's life still available. But other cards don't do this. And there's been an allowed belief that the card must be going bad, I got to get another one. But it's really just a matter of the card needs some maintenance. And you have to enable that on the card. And you have to, the pathway, you have to have a reader that has the path open. If we had something to say about it when CF Express and all these different formats were being standardized years ago, we would have said this is a requirement that you have this sanitize and this health check. There's no reason not to, other than it's like everything else. If you don't do it, it's led to more sales, but unnecessary sales. We want to sell things because people love our product and refer to their friends, not because it's being prematurely retired.
I was going to say, all I have is OWC cards, but I gave the other ones away to, I guess are they friends? Are they friends if I gave them inferior cards? I don't know. Doesn't matter. but,
I got some
but
in
all
there.
I'm using our OWC. Let me ask you this. And again, so now folks hear the value proposition. Now folks understand, if they didn't already, uh, why OWC literally is better, literally, figuratively, and everything, why they're better because of all of the work and all of the forward thinking. Where can we get them? Is it just off of your website? Can we get them? Can other folks go to the big box brick and mortar online shopping as well? Where is the consumer, where people are able to buy these? All the
Well,
products, everything.
we never discourage anybody from coming direct to owc.com
Mm,
or maxsales.com, but I give call outs to folks like Film Tools and B&H Photo. You can a lot of our products available on Amazon. There's literally around the world thousands of resellers, big and small, that do stock our product. Now we're working to get our stuff into the big box, but a lot of that's we want to make sure that how I say that that we're in the right big box with the right product in the right
yeah.
place. There's a lot of stuff that's not good there. We don't want to be mixed. We don't want to be necessarily mixed in with the wrong product.
Read between the lines, folks. Larry, oh man, if I don't buy it directly from you, I'll tell you I do get it from B&H, because just that's just where I go. But man, what you just said there, okay, we maybe we should do like an after hours when we're not recording and actually talk about that. Um,
Sure. And hey, wherever you see our product, we're glad that hey. And if you don't see our product, hey, talk to whoever your rep is there, whoever the manager of that store, say, hey, you should have OWC. We're really trying to increase the camera card availability because it's really really important.
yeah.
And it's we get up. I mean, this is a mission out there and look and say it's people have benefit from using our solutions. I mean, it's a better for a myriad of different applications, uses, I say, for purposes, period. If you have an OWT device versus a competitor's device, the experience is going to be better. What you can accomplish will be
Mhm.
more. And, we really feel an obligation to do everything we can to make our product available and have accessibility and visibility. Folks like yourself, I mean, know our product, use our product, and really appreciate the call outs and just the word of mouth that you share. And there's so many more people that there's a huge audience that has not used our solution. They may not even know we exist. And, you
Yeah.
know, we need to fix that because it's, it is at a cost to them that they don't know.
It's a good story to tell. I'm no iJustine, right? I'm not on your homepage. Maybe if I shaved up a little bit or this, but again, I'm still out here telling the story. Okay, that was probably, I probably shouldn't hit you with that. I love Justine. Shouts out to her. Where you guys
And
at
she's
next?
she was a customer since the 90s when she was still
Yeah,
a
yeah,
kid.
there you go. Okay, so I've been a customer since, oh, 15, 20. I don't want to go to. I don't want to do that because I'll just get in trouble.
No, it's
Where
not
you?
even. It's not a competition. I just thought it was. I thought it was neat in terms of that. Anyway, I
See, now
appreciate
you don't get me in trouble. No,
everybody.
because every time I see her, I want to make sure that she doesn't, because she, martial arts. Not, I don't want her to put me in a stranglehold or anything of that nature. So I want to be on, stay on
Noted.
her good side. Um, I'm going to nap. Hopefully, you guys are going to be at nap. You're going to be at the next session. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are you going?
I am physically going.
All
Yes.
right. All
I
right.
look
You heard
forward
it
to
here. You heard it here, folks. I mean, if I go down there to the trade show floor and I see the OWC booth and I ask Chris or ask somebody, hey, here to see Larry, here to come hang out, go get something to eat. Oh, he didn't make it. Oh, I'm gonna be upset.
unless my flight's canceled and there's no other alternatives. I don't think I'm missing NAB and
Yeah,
more
that's
than
not
that.
one you want to, right? NAB, CES, those are two that we have to be at. Uh, Next year I'll be at WPPI,
For
but
better or for worse, yes. But we go to all sorts of other
that's
shows.
true.
Honestly, love to really enjoy the smaller shows a lot more than the big shows. To
Yeah,
be
yeah,
entirely honest.
easier on the feet for the old guy.
No,
Uh,
it's just more personal.
yeah,
It's
truth,
more
truth.
more time. And yeah, just the big shows they're just kind of crazy.
Well, listen, man,
Gotta be.
your team as well. I want to give some flowers and some shouts out to your team as well, because it's resonating down from you, from leadership, right? The enablement, the engagement, the learning, the education. You guys are very active on social, on Twitter. I'll never call it X. It's always going to be Twitter to me. Um, even on your Facebook pages, but everywhere that you post on social, there is something of value that is being shared. And it's not always specifically about your products. It's about technology in and of itself as a whole. So, shouts out to whoever is running that side of the business, just going out there and educating the consumer about technology infrastructure, technology peripherals, and all of that. So again, I'll make sure folks know where those links are so they can follow that team and follow you
Yeah, I
guys as well.
appreciate you notice that. We enjoy this stuff. We enjoy sharing, what we learn that we'll otherwise discover. So this is a passion. I mean, we're the folks at OWC are passionate about what they do across the board, and that's as you know is reflected in the products and
Yeah.
certainly reflected in just the interactions that you can have with our team.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Larry O'Connor right there, founder CEO of OWC. They make the best products in the world when it comes to backup, archive, storage. That's right, I said it. I said it. I stand by what, and they're not paying me to say that. How about that?
Yeah, this is not. This is.
You know, so
This is
again,
not.
I have to
No,
put that disclaimer in there too, right? This is unpaid advertisement right there. But again, I only advocate for products and services that I actually use and that I stand by. That's why you've been back here a couple of times. That's why I use you. That's why, when someone asks me what specifically to use for an external portable SSD, go with the Envoy. When someone asks me what to use for a CF Express card, go with the uh, Atlas.
Atlas, yes, sir.
Atlas. Okay. See, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop right now while I'm ahead.
No worries. Hey, again, we're just kind of a supporting part of the equation. You don't have to know what the names or anything. It's just you've got them. They're plugged in. They're connected. They're working.
Yeah, I
That's
can't show them because they're literally plugged in right now. So that it would be a really bad show if I just start unplugging things. Who knows what would happen? So, Larry, be
with
good to yourself, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the time. Appreciate your team. Appreciate everything that you guys do. And let's hopefully connect next month at NAB, brother.
okay. Likewise, and sure we will. Thanks, James. Really appreciate being here.
Thank you, sir. You be well.